Dryland day 13, beginning of week 4. We're going to switch it up just a bit this week. Um, First, before we get into it, I just want to highlight the notes section when you look at your PDF of the workout. Two of those things are pretty obvious. Just the markings for when you're using a towel or when you're using dumbbell. Those are pretty obvious regardless of if I mark it or not, because it'll say like dumbbell or use a towel. The two things I want to talk about. Superset, I know we've talked about it a little bit, but basically when you see the little like arrow pointing up, that just means that that exercise is supersetted with the exercise above it. So instead of going like, you see the example there, instead of going 3 A's in a row, 3 B's in a row, 3 C's, you're going to go A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. I think we've got that down pretty well. The time under tension is what I want to touch on now, because now that we are starting to get a little more in shape, our bodies are used to the workouts a little bit. We need to add a little more pressure. We need to make these a little bit harder. Time under tension is going to be key here. So what that means is that because, especially at home, when we don't necessarily have a lot of weight, we can't add more weight for more tension. What we have to do is add time so we have the same tension but for more time. Okay, so if we are doing ISO holds, maybe on your last couple of reps you hold it a little bit longer just to get a little more work out of the exercise. If there is not an isometric or eccentric movement, maybe add one of those on the last rep of a set, typically towards the end, just to get a little bit more work out of the exercise. I wouldn't say do more reps. So like if it says 8 and you're not feeling it really well, I wouldn't say add more reps, because we want to keep that, the rep range is where it's at, is where we want it. Because that's where we start to get the difference between aerobic and anaerobic, and they are set up in a way where they're specific to you. Okay, so here's our workout today. We have 3 clusters now, but they're a little more organized, a little simplistic. And then they are labeled too. So cluster 1, we're doing dual leg stuff and then supplementing with a single leg explosive, and then the opposite for cluster 2. So we're doing single leg lifts with, you'll see the squat jumps or the frog jumps, dual leg explosive movements, and then our core is down there in cluster 3. So we're going to get a little bit more core work. You don't see the finisher, you don't see the warm-up, which are also added. Warm-up is pretty straightforward, and then the finisher is, again, we're doing our ankle mobility. Still the same thing as we have been doing. Hopefully you're feeling that your ankles are getting a little bit more loosey-goosey as we get through these. So here we go. First 3 exercises we are going to take a look at. The goblet squat to press, which we have done before. Single leg jumps and lateral lunge also that we've done before. The single leg jumps are the only new exercise, but I want to touch base on the goblet squat and the lateral lunge just briefly. So you'll see in the video here that I've got my bag, and this is how I demonstrated it last time with the bag, goblet squat to press. That is what we want. Now, again, we just talked about adding a little bit of tension, so we're either going to add time under tension or we're going to add some weight for more tension. This is one that you're going to be able to add a little bit more weight, and you can see that I'm not even using the dumbbells here. Simply, if you put your bag on your back and then grab like milk jugs, then you are adding that weight to that squat. The press, we don't necessarily need more tension to. Okay, we want to be a little bit nicer on the shoulders. We're focusing the legs today. One tip, if you do these with the backpack on your back, get it as tight to you as possible. That's going to be a lot easier. Here we go, single leg jumps. Very straightforward. You're just going down into a lunge. Do not press off the ground with that back leg. I have my leg back like that so that when I land, it's kind of like a kickstand and I can hold my balance a little bit better. But I'm trying to press all the way through with that single front leg. And as always, we want our knees in line with our toes whenever we are doing anything. You'll see that here too on the lateral lunge or the side squat. Again, we've done these. I just want to touch base because this one gets a little weird as we get into the single legs. Same thing like I just talked about. Knees need to be in line with your toes. Don't let them sink in. Don't let them go way wide. Take this slow. Keep the weight tight to your chest as you do these. And then make sure that you squatting all the way up into that high position before going down into your next side lunge. Um, Reverse slide lunge and frog jumps. Slide lunges, I did not have it on the screenshot that I had at the beginning of the workout, but they are marked on your workout that there's a plus sign, so you're going to use a towel or something like that. Basically, you'll see here in a second, your foot is on a towel, and when you lunge backwards, you're going to slide your foot back rather than step your foot back. And you're going to try and keep it a little bit straighter than you normally would in a lunge. So you're getting a little bit of a stretch in your quad as you go back, and then you're pressing up with that single leg. Now, obviously, I'm on hardwood. If you have tile or hardwood, it will work with a towel as well. If you are doing this on carpet, you can grab like a dinner plate or something flat and smooth and step on, and it should work the same. Hopefully you can find something that works really well. If you absolutely cannot find anything that slides well, you can do a normal reverse lunge. Basically, we're just keeping a little bit more pressure on the back leg and getting a little more stretch. Now I've added frog jumps, or you can do just normal squat jumps. Frog jumps here are, if your ceiling is pretty low, what this is going to do is you're still going to get the same explosive movement, but because your legs are a little bit wider, you're not going to get as high, so you can still put the same amount of force through, but not be whapping your head on the ceiling. So that's up to you, your choice. Frog jumps, you're going to get a little more hip mobility going. And then finally, here are our 4 core exercises. We have slide pikes, that'll be new. Windshield wipers, that might be new. Flutter kicks and alternating Superman should be just a little bit of review. But again, on the slide pikes, you will use a towel, a sweatshirt, a blanket, whatever you need to that will slide on the ground. So we're going to start here in our tabletop position, our push-up position. Feet are on the towel, and what we're going to do is we're going to slide them into a pike. Okay, so your feet are back, you're on the towel. You slide them as high into that pike as possible. You don't need to get it way up towards your hands, just to where you're comfortable. Again, if your sliding is not working, if you're in a spot where you can't really slide, you can do inchworms, which is basically the same thing, but instead of sliding the towel in, you're going to slowly walk your feet up. All right, so here we go, windshield wipers. We are on our back. I put my hands way out wide because that helps me stay in control, stay balanced. You're up like you're doing a leg lift, but instead of going down and back up, we are moving our core side to side. So we're taking the focus off our main abs, our six-pack. We're moving it to the side into our obliques. Okay? Take this slow. Control your legs all the way down. All right, our next one, flutter kicks. Of course, we've done these before. Keeping your feet like 3 to 6 inches off the ground, and then we're keeping that tight flutter kick like we are swimming. Keep your core engaged the whole way. Obviously, you're doing 2 kicks is 1 rep, or 1 rep per kick. You're doing it twice through, 2 times as many. And then finally, our alternating Superman. So Superman, we know we're lifting our shoulders up, our hands up, and then our legs, trying to get that off the ground. Alternating here, so you're going right arm with your left leg and left arm with your right leg. Get a great squeeze here. Lift your hands and feet as high off the ground as you comfortably can. You should feel the tension in your back and in your glutes as you do this. Don't get sloppy. Take it slow. Be in control. Okay? Again, especially with those, to add a little bit of time under tension, pause for a second or 2 at the top if you need to really get a good feel. I find that with Supermans especially, pausing at the top, I can actually feel better the muscles that I am using when I pause and really try to squeeze my hand and foot together. I can feel the muscles working, and that will help you get a little bit better of a workout. So again, these are a little bit different than we've been doing. We've added some explosive movements here, which are going to be great for when we get into the pool and we're jumping off the block, getting off the wall, all that kind of stuff. Again, if you have any questions about any of the workouts, just shoot me an email. and all the other exercises that we did, hopefully you know by now, or you can easily go back and find them in the old workouts. Good luck with this. And we're going to work hard here, and we're coming up on Christmas, so work really hard so that when we get those days off and we get back, we are ready to go.